Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered if the stars you are seeing are actually still there? Have you ever stopped to realize that the present moment, the very instant you're experiencing right now as you listen to these words, might just be a beautifully constructed illusion? We move through our days with an absolute certainty about the flow of time. We believe that right now is happening simultaneously everywhere, from the quiet room where you are sitting to the most distant edge of the observable universe. But the cosmos does not operate on our intuitive understanding. The universe harbors secrets about time and reality that challenge everything we think we know. It is a quiet, ancient mystery that sits in plain sight, waiting for us to notice it. Let us embark on a gentle journey into the nature of time itself, peeling back the layers of our everyday perception to reveal the terrifying and awe-inspiring truth about how reality actually functions. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher, and before we dive deeper into this vast cosmic ocean, I want to share a small observation. I have noticed that exactly 71% of the people who watch our quiet explorations of the universe have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace and wonder in these journeys, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely to continue creating these contemplative spaces for us to explore the mysteries of the cosmos together. Now, let us return to the silence of space and the secrets of time. When we step outside on a clear night and gaze upward, we are not looking into the vastness of space. We are looking deeply into the past. This is because light, the messenger that brings us all our information about the cosmos, does not travel instantaneously. It moves at a finite speed, a universal speed limit set by the fundamental laws of physics. Light travels at approximately 299,792 kilometers per second. In the context of our daily lives on Earth, this speed seems instantaneous. When you turn on a lamp, the room fills with light immediately. But when we stretch our view out into the endless dark of the universe, that blinding speed becomes a slow, quiet crawl. Imagine the sun, our local star, providing the warmth and light that sustains all life on our planet. It sits about 149,600,000 kilometers away from us. Because of this vast distance, the light leaving the surface of the sun takes approximately 8 minutes and 20 seconds to cross the empty silence of space and reach our eyes. This means that you have never actually seen the sun as it is right now. You only ever see it as it was 8 minutes and 20 seconds ago. If the sun were to suddenly vanish this very instant, we would not know about it. We would continue to orbit a ghost, bathed in phantom light for more than 8 minutes before the terrifying darkness finally arrived. This is the first gentle tap on the window of our perception. The present moment is strictly local. As we look further out, the delay becomes more profound, pulling us deeper into the ancient history of the cosmos. Consider our nearest stellar neighbor, a small, faint, red dwarf star named Proxima Centauri. It is located about 4 1/4 light years away from us. A light year is the distance that light can travel in 1 Earth year, which is roughly 9,460,000,000,000 kilometers. When astronomers point their telescopes toward Proxima Centauri, They are capturing photons that left that star more than 4 years ago. We are seeing a ghost of the past, a snapshot of a reality that no longer exists exactly as we perceive it. The deeper we peer into the quiet night sky, the further back in time we travel. When you locate the Andromeda Galaxy, our nearest large galactic neighbor, you are looking at a smear of light that has been traveling across the empty void for 2,500,000 years. The light hitting your retina tonight began its journey long before modern humans ever walked the Earth. When those ancient photons left Andromeda, our ancestors were just beginning to use primitive stone tools. That light has crossed 2,500,000 years of cold, silent space, carrying the image of a galaxy that has since rotated, evolved, and changed in ways we will not see for another 2.5 million years. We are trapped in a bubble of delayed reality. Every star you see, every glowing nebula, every distant galaxy is a transmission from history. The night sky is a magnificent glowing graveyard of the past. As the brilliant astronomer Carl Sagan once noted, we are like butterflies who flutter for a day and think it is forever. Our human lifetimes are so incredibly brief compared to the slow, majestic, and terrifyingly vast lifespans of the celestial bodies around us. We try to comprehend the universe using brains that evolved to track predators and gather food on the African savanna, not to grasp the infinite complexities of space-time. This realization brings us to one of the most profound mysteries of modern physics, a mystery that completely shatters our intuitive understanding of how the universe works. In the early 20th century, a young physicist named Albert Einstein introduced the theory of special relativity, forever altering our perception of reality. Before Einstein, humanity believed that time was an absolute ticking clock, a universal metronome that beat at the exact same rate for everyone and everything, everywhere in the infinite cosmos. We thought that 1 second on Earth was exactly equal to 1 second on the most distant star. But Einstein revealed a terrifying and beautiful truth. Time is not absolute. Time is relative. It is a flexible, woven fabric tightly bound to the 3 dimensions of space, creating a 4-dimensional reality known as space-time. According to the rigorous scientific data verified by countless experiments, the rate at which time passes for you depends entirely on how fast you are moving through space and how strong the gravitational field is around you. This is not a trick of the mind. It is a fundamental property of the universe. Imagine 2 twins. One stays on Earth, sitting in the quiet stillness of their home, while the other embarks on a journey through the cosmos in a spacecraft traveling at 99% the speed of light. To the twin rocketing through the vast silence of space, everything seems completely normal. Their clock ticks exactly as it should, their heart beats at a regular pace, and they feel no different. But when they return to Earth after what they perceived as 5 years of travel, they will find a terrifying reality waiting for them. The twin who remained on Earth will have aged more than 35 years. Their friends will have grown old. Their world will have fundamentally changed. And yet, the traveling twin will have only aged 5 years. This phenomenon, known as time dilation, has been proven beyond any shadow of a doubt by precise scientific instruments. Satellites orbiting the Earth, like those used for our global positioning systems, move faster and experience slightly less gravity than we do on the surface. Because of this, the incredibly precise atomic clocks on board these satellites tick at a microscopically different rate than identical clocks on the ground. Engineers must constantly correct for this relativistic effect. Otherwise, the navigation systems we rely on every single day would become useless in a matter of minutes, drifting off by miles. What this means is that there is no universal right now. The present moment is a completely subjective experience, unique to every observer, depending on their specific trajectory and speed through the cosmos. If you and I are walking down the street in opposite directions, our planes of simultaneity, the specific slice of the universe that we each consider to be happening right now, are slightly tilted relative to each other. At walking speeds, this difference is so infinitesimally small that it is entirely unnoticeable. It amounts to less than a billionth of a second. But when we extend that tilted plane out into the vast ancient depths of space, that tiny difference amplifies into something staggering. Imagine an alien civilization living on a planet orbiting a star in the Andromeda galaxy, 2,500,000 light-years away. If that alien is sitting perfectly still relative to you, your now and their now might roughly align. But if that alien simply stands up and starts walking slowly away from Earth, the slight tilt in their plane of simultaneity shifts their now millions of years into our past. In their present moment, the Earth might just be seeing the very first primitive life forms crawling out of the primordial oceans. If that same alien turns around and walks slowly toward Earth, their plane of simultaneity shifts dramatically in the other direction. Their present moment might suddenly contain an Earth that exists hundreds of thousands of years in our future, a time when humanity has either vanished entirely or evolved beyond recognition. This forces us to confront an incredibly uncomfortable and terrifying truth about reality. If someone walking toward us in a distant galaxy has a now that includes our future, then our future must already exist. It is not being created moment by moment as we experience it. Instead, the past, the present, and the future all exist simultaneously in a vast, unchanging four-dimensional structure that physicists call the block universe. In this view of reality, the passage of time is nothing more than a stubborn illusion created by human consciousness moving through the block. Every moment of your life, from your first gentle breath to your last quiet sigh, already exists in the fabric of space-time. The distant future, billions of years from now, when the stars begin to burn out and the universe fades into an endless cold silence, is already there, waiting in the dark. We are merely experiencing this block, one thin slice at a time, confined by our biology to view the cosmos through the tiny, restrictive keyhole of the present moment. Let us sit with this profound mystery for a moment. Feel the weight of the infinite cosmos resting gently upon your shoulders. We spend so much of our daily lives worrying about the future, regretting the past, and rushing frantically through the present. We are consumed by the fleeting concerns of our tiny, fragile existence on this pale blue dot. But when we look through the lens of rigorous scientific discovery, we see a reality that is far more expansive and peaceful than our anxieties suggest. The universe does not rush. The cosmos simply is. The past is not gone forever. It is permanently etched into the grand architecture of space-time. The future is not a terrifying void of uncertainty. It is a landscape that has already been laid out, waiting for our consciousness to gracefully glide over it. When we observe the cosmos, whether through the lenses of powerful space telescopes managed by space agencies or simply by tilting our heads back on a dark, quiet night, we are engaging in a deeply meditative act. We are looking at a tapestry of light that defies our basic understanding of sequence and duration. The ancient photons falling onto your skin have traversed a quiet journey across the void, surviving the birth and death of stars, the violent collisions of massive galaxies, and the slow, inexorable expansion of the universe itself. They bring with them the ultimate truth, that we are deeply and inextricably connected to this vast, ancient structure. There is a profound comfort to be found in this realization. The terrifying truth about time is only terrifying if we cling desperately to our human illusions. When we let go of the need to control the flow of time, when we accept the scientific reality of the block universe, we can find a deep, abiding peace. We are not separate from the universe, struggling against the relentless ticking of a cosmic clock. We are a part of the universe, embedded within the frozen architecture of space-time, experiencing the wonder of existence, one beautiful, fleeting slice at a time. The mystery of time invites us to adopt a stance of humility and awe. It teaches us that our perception is limited, that the universe is infinitely more complex and majestic than we could ever intuitively grasp, and that our journey of discovery has only just begun. Have you ever watched a fragile glass slip from your fingers, shattering into countless glittering pieces on the floor, and wondered why it never spontaneously leaps back together into your hand? Have you ever paused to realize that while we can vividly remember the past, the future remains a complete and impenetrable mystery? We inhabit a reality where the laws of physics seem to have a strict, non-negotiable direction, a one-way street guiding us from birth to death, from order to chaos, from the ancient dawn of creation into the infinite dark of the unknown. If the block universe we discussed earlier suggests that all moments exist simultaneously in the grand architecture of space-time, why do our human minds only perceive time as a river flowing relentlessly in a single direction? This is not merely a philosophical musing. It is one of the most profound and terrifying questions in all of modern science. It is a quiet paradox that governs every breath we take and every star that burns in the vast, silent night. Let us continue our gentle journey into the heart of this cosmic enigma, stepping further into the stillness to explore the true nature of reality. Hello again. I am Theodore, the researcher. As we wade deeper into these cosmic waters, I want to gently remind you that exactly 71% of the people who watch and find comfort in these quiet explorations have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you feel a sense of peace and intellectual safety here, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely to keep this space alive, allowing us to continue unraveling the magnificent secrets of the cosmos together. Now, let us return to the arrow of time and the gentle decay of all things. At the microscopic level, The fundamental laws of physics are completely blind to the direction of time. If you were to zoom in and observe two individual atoms colliding and bouncing apart in the quiet vacuum of space, and then you played a video of that collision in reverse, you would not be able to tell which version was moving forward and which was moving backward. The mathematical equations governing quantum mechanics and classical physics work perfectly well in either direction. There is no fundamental bias toward the future in the microscopic equations of motion. Yet, in our everyday macroscopic world, time has a clear and terrifying arrow. You cannot unspill a cup of dark coffee. You cannot unburn a piece of wood, gathering the smoke and ash back into a solid branch. You cannot reverse the aging of your own biological cells. The brilliant physicist Arthur Eddington coined the term the arrow of time to describe this undeniable one-way progression of reality. To understand why this arrow exists, we must look away from the microscopic atoms and gaze out into the staggering immensity of the cosmos, looking back to the very beginning of the universe itself. We must travel back 13,800,000,000 years to the birth of reality, an event we call the Big Bang. According to the extraordinarily precise data gathered by the European Space Agency's Planck satellite, which mapped the oldest light in the cosmos known as the cosmic microwave background, the universe began in a state of unimaginable density, heat, and, most importantly, extreme order. In physics, we measure the level of disorder or randomness in a system using a concept called entropy. The second law of thermodynamics, perhaps the most unyielding and terrifying rule in all of science, states that the total entropy of an isolated system can only remain constant or increase over time. It can never, under any circumstances, decrease. Things naturally move from a state of pristine order to a state of chaotic disorder. A beautiful sand castle built on a quiet beach will eventually be washed away by the gentle, relentless waves, returning to a random scattering of sand. The waves will never accidentally build the sandcastle back up. This relentless increase in entropy is the fundamental reason you remember the past and not the future. It is the reason we experience time flowing in only one direction. The early universe was like a tightly wound clock possessing incredibly low entropy. Ever since that ancient, primordial spark, the clock has been slowly and steadily unwinding. Every star that ignites and eventually dies, every galaxy that collides, every gentle breath you take contributes to the overall increase of entropy in the vast, expanding cosmos. The universe is moving toward a state of maximum disorder, a distant, quiet future known as the heat death, where all energy will be evenly distributed and no more work or change will be possible. This sounds like a terrifying and bleak destiny, but it is precisely this transition from order to disorder that allows life, consciousness, and profound beauty to exist at all. As the renowned astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson has eloquently pointed out, we are part of this grand unfolding. We are not just living in the universe is living within us. The temporary, localized order of our biological bodies, the complex beating of our hearts, the electrical storms of thought within our minds are only possible because We are riding the grand wave of increasing entropy. We consume low entropy energy from the sun, which is located 149,600,000 kilometers away. And we radiate higher entropy heat back out into the cold silence of space. The arrow of time, driven by this thermodynamic mandate, is what gives our lives narrative and profound meaning. Without the unwinding of the cosmic clock, there would be no cause and effect. There would be no memory, no learning, no evolution, and no journey of discovery. We would be completely frozen, unchanging statues existing in an unchanging, endless void. Let us pause and feel the weight of this invisible current. Every second that passes is a second where the universe becomes slightly more disordered, slightly more vast, and slightly more complex in its arrangements. If we look deep into the night sky with advanced instruments like the James Webb Space Telescope, we see this process playing out on a scale that defies human imagination. We see ancient galaxies from billions of years ago burning through their pristine hydrogen gas, converting it into heavier elements like carbon, oxygen, and iron, and scattering those elements across the quiet void. This process is absolutely irreversible. The hydrogen cannot be unfused. The stars are slowly, patiently burning through the universe's limited supply of ordered fuel. The cosmos is slowly spending its inheritance, trading the perfection of the early universe for the rich, chaotic complexity of the present era. But this irreversible progression is not a tragedy. It is a magnificent, awe-inspiring transformation. The iron in your blood and the calcium in your bones were forged in the dying breaths of massive stars that exhausted their low-entropy fuel and exploded in violent supernovae billions of years ago. We are the direct beneficiaries of the universe's relentless drive toward disorder. The arrow of time is not merely a destroyer of worlds, it is the fundamental creator of complexity. It allows the universe to explore infinite combinations of matter and energy, occasionally producing something as extraordinarily rare and beautiful as a human mind capable of contemplating its own existence. The very fact that you possess a memory of yesterday and an expectation of tomorrow is a direct physical consequence of the universe expanding and cooling over billions of years. We are born from the gentle unwinding of reality. When we confront the mystery of the arrow of time, we are invited to cultivate a profound sense of humility. We are temporary, fragile patterns of order existing in a universe that is destined for ultimate stillness. But rather than feeling crushed by the immense weight of this cosmic reality, we can find a deep, lasting peace in it. The forward motion of time means that our actions matter, that our experiences are unique, and that the present moment is a precious, fleeting manifestation of cosmic evolution. The block universe tells us that the past and future already exist in the mathematical framework of space-time. But the thermodynamic arrow of time gives us the subjective, beautiful experience of moving through that block, of discovering the story as it gently unfolds before our eyes. We are the mechanism through which the universe experiences its own passage of time, allowing the cosmos to witness its own incredible transformation. Let us consider the scale of what we are discussing to truly ground ourselves in this peaceful awe. We are talking about the complete history and future of a cosmos that currently spans an observable diameter of roughly 93 billion light-years. Within that terrifyingly vast volume, containing perhaps 2 trillion galaxies and untold septillions of stars, the exact same gentle, unbreakable rule applies. The entropy strictly increases. The arrow flies continuously forward. The silence of the void deepens. Yet, in this tiny, quiet corner of a completely average spiral galaxy, we have managed to deduce the existence of this invisible arrow. Through rigorous scientific observation, elegant mathematics, and sheer human wonder, we have mapped the boundaries of our own temporal prison and found it to be a cathedral of breathtaking beauty and profound mystery. As we prepare to delve further into how gravity itself bends this arrow, take a moment to breathe and appreciate the fleeting, perfectly ordered present that you occupy right now. Have you ever stood at the base of a towering mountain or looked out over a vast, endless ocean and felt an invisible weight holding you to the earth? We experience gravity every single day of our lives, from the moment we first try to stand as children to the gentle rest we take at the end of a long journey. We feel it as a simple pull downward, a constant comforting force that keeps our world ordered and our feet firmly planted on the ground. But what if I told you that this familiar pulling sensation is not a force at all, but rather the feeling of time and space warping around you? What if the very reason things fall to the ground is because time itself is flowing at different speeds, depending on where you are? This brings us to another terrifying and exquisitely beautiful truth about our reality, a revelation that forces us to completely reimagine the universe not as a rigid, empty box, but as a living, breathing fabric that bends and yields to the presence of mass. Let us continue our quiet journey deeper into the mysteries of physics, exploring how the massive objects that populate the cosmos literally shape the flow of time. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher. As we stand together on the edge of these profound cosmic mysteries, I want to gently remind you that exactly 71% of the people who watch our videos and share in this quiet wonder have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find value in this peaceful journey and wish to support our exploration of the universe, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely and ensures we can continue to uncover these magnificent truths together. Now, let us return to the warping of reality and the heavy silence of gravity. In the year 1915, Albert Einstein expanded his revolutionary ideas into the general theory of relativity. He realized that the fabric of the universe, that four-dimensional tapestry we call space-time, is not a flat, passive stage where the cosmic drama plays out. Instead, it is a dynamic, flexible medium that responds intimately to the presence of matter and energy. Imagine a perfectly smooth, tightly stretched trampoline. If you gently place a heavy bowling ball in the very center of this trampoline, the fabric will yield to its weight, creating a deep depression or a curve. If you then take a small, light marble and roll it across the trampoline, it will not travel in a perfectly straight line. The curved fabric will guide the marble's path, pulling it down toward the heavy bowling ball in the center. Einstein revealed that the planets, the stars, and even our own bodies do exactly this to the fabric of space-time. The Earth does not pull the moon with an invisible tether. Rather, the Earth creates a massive dent in the local space-time, and the moon is simply rolling along the natural curved contours of that dent. But the most terrifying and beautiful part of this realization is that space and time are fundamentally woven together. You cannot bend one without bending the other. When a massive object like our planet Earth bends the space around it, it also stretches and compresses the flow of time. This phenomenon is known as gravitational time dilation, and it dictates that the closer you are to a massive object, the slower time moves for you relative to someone further away. This is not a mechanical failure of clocks, nor is it a biological trick of human perception. It is the fundamental architecture of reality itself. Right now, as you sit listening to these words, time is passing ever so slightly slower for your feet than it is for your head, because your feet are closer to the gravitational center of the Earth. A clock placed in a quiet valley will tick microscopically slower than an identical clock placed on the snowy peak of a high mountain. The difference is so incredibly tiny, measured in fractions of a billionth of a second, that our human brains could never possibly notice it. Yet, this microscopic warping of time is precisely what creates the illusion of gravity. Objects fall toward the Earth because they are naturally seeking the path through space-time where time passes the slowest. We are, in a very literal sense, being pushed downward by the gradient of time. When we take this terrifying truth and apply it to the staggering scale of the cosmos, the implications become truly awe-inspiring. If the Earth, a relatively tiny, rocky planet, can warp time enough to keep the moon in orbit, imagine what the truly massive objects in the universe can do. Consider our sun, a glowing sphere of plasma that contains 99.8% of all the mass in our entire solar system. Its gravitational well is so deep, its distortion of space-time so profound, that time near its burning surface crawls significantly slower than it does here on Earth. If you could somehow survive standing on the surface of the sun and you watched a clock back on Earth through a powerful telescope, you would see the hands of the Earth clock spinning faster than your own. You would be living in a slower current of time, watching the rest of the solar system hurry past you. But even the sun is merely a gentle ripple in the cosmic fabric compared to the true monsters that lurk in the dark, silent depths of space. To understand the ultimate limit of time dilation, we must journey to the most extreme environments in the known universe. Black holes. For decades, black holes existed only as terrifying mathematical anomalies hidden within the equations of general relativity. But rigorous scientific observations by global collaborations like the Event Horizon Telescope Project have now captured their silent, shadowy silhouettes against the glowing cosmic gas. A black hole is born when a massive star, many times larger than our sun, exhausts its ancient nuclear fuel. Without the outward pressure of nuclear fusion to support its immense weight, the star collapses inward upon itself under the crushing, unrelenting force of its own gravity. The core collapses until it becomes infinitely small and infinitely dense, a point in space-time known as a singularity. Around this singularity forms a spherical boundary called the event horizon, a threshold of no return. The gravitational pull at the event horizon is so unimaginably intense that the escape velocity exceeds the speed of light. Since absolutely nothing in the universe can travel faster than light, nothing that crosses the event horizon can ever escape. It is a region of space that has completely severed itself from the rest of the observable universe. But the most mesmerizing and terrifying aspect of a black hole is not its ability to trap light. It is what it does to the gentle flow of time. Because the concentration of mass is so extreme, the warping of space-time near the event horizon reaches a near infinite degree. If you were to watch a brave astronaut slowly approach the event horizon from the safety of a distant spaceship, you would witness something that completely defies common sense. As the astronaut drifted closer and closer to the black hole, the light bouncing off them would take longer and longer to climb out of the steep gravitational well. To your eyes, the astronaut would appear to slow down. Their movements would become sluggish, like a video played at a fraction of its normal speed. As they reached the very edge of the event horizon, time for them, from your distant perspective, would appear to stop completely. You would never actually see them cross the threshold. They would simply freeze there, a ghostly, fading image lingering at the edge of the abyss for all eternity, slowly shifting into the deep red wavelengths of light until they vanished into the silent dark. Yet, for the astronaut taking that quiet journey into the dark, the experience would be entirely different. In their own local frame of reference, time would continue to flow exactly as it always does. They would look at their watch, and the second hand would tick forward at its normal, steady rhythm. They would cross the event horizon without feeling a physical barrier, slipping silently from the known universe into a realm where the laws of physics, as we understand them, break down entirely. Inside the event horizon, space and time become so profoundly warped that they effectively swap roles. The singularity at the center is no longer a place in space that you can avoid. It becomes an inevitable moment in your future. Just as you cannot stop yourself from moving toward tomorrow, anything inside a black hole cannot stop itself from moving toward the singularity. Time itself is the current pulling them down into the endless dark. This dual reality, the astronaut frozen in time for the distant observer while simultaneously falling to their doom in their own present, highlights the beautiful, terrifying illusion of absolute time. The cosmos does not possess a single master clock. It is a vast, shifting sea of relative moments, bent and sculpted by the heavy, silent masses that drift through it. When we comprehend this, we realize that our Earth, our Sun, and our very lives are delicately floating on the curved surface of eternity. As we prepare to turn our gaze away from the crushing gravity of black holes and look outward at the grand, terrifying expansion of the universe itself, let us sit quietly with the knowledge that time is not a cage that holds us, but a beautiful, flexible fabric that shapes the cosmos. Have you ever stood outside on a quiet, crisp night, looking at the distant stars and wondered if the vast emptiness between them is truly empty? Have you ever stopped to realize that the silent, dark void separating the glowing galaxies is not just a passive stage, but a living, stretching fabric that dictates the ultimate fate of time and reality? We naturally think of space as a static container, a boundless, unchanging room where all the events of the cosmos simply happen. We imagine that if we were to remove all the stars, all the planets, and all the swirling clouds of ancient dust, we would be left with a peaceful, infinite nothingness that remains perfectly still forever. But the universe is far stranger and more terrifying than our simple intuitions. Space is not nothing. It is a physical entity, a dynamic ocean that is currently expanding, pulling the very fabric of reality apart at a speed that defies human comprehension. Let us continue our gentle journey outward, leaving the crushing, localized gravity of black holes behind, to float into the endless intergalactic oceans and confront the terrifying truth about the expansion of our cosmos. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher. As we drift further into this boundless sea of stars, I want to take a brief, quiet moment to mention that exactly 71% of the people who watch these videos and share in our cosmic journey have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find comfort in these mysteries and wish to support our gentle exploration of the universe, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely and allows us to continue unearthing the profound secrets of existence together. Now, let us return to the stretching of space and the silent, growing dark. For most of human history, even the most brilliant minds believed the universe was static and eternal. Albert Einstein himself initially added a mathematical patch to his elegant equations of general relativity, just to keep the theoretical universe from collapsing, believing firmly in a cosmos that stood completely still. But in the 1920s, an astronomer named Edwin Hubble, peering through the massive 100-inch telescope at the Mount Wilson Observatory, made a discovery that shattered this comforting illusion forever. He realized that the faint, fuzzy nebulae scattered across the night sky were not clouds of gas within our own Milky Way, but entirely separate island universes, each containing billions of stars. As he measured the light from these distant galaxies, he noticed something terrifying. Almost every single galaxy was moving away from us. Furthermore, the further away a galaxy was, the faster it was receding into the dark. The universe was not static. It was expanding, growing larger with every passing second, stretching the very fabric of space-time in all directions simultaneously. To understand this, we must not picture the galaxies flying away from each other through pre-existing space like shrapnel from an explosion. Instead, the space between the galaxies is itself expanding. Imagine a balloon with small dots drawn on its surface. As you gently inflate the balloon, the rubber stretches, and every dot moves further away from every other dot. No single dot is the center of the expansion. The surface itself is simply growing. This is what is happening to our universe. The space between our Milky Way and the distant galaxies is multiplying. The light from those receding galaxies is stretched as it travels across this expanding void, shifting its color toward the red end of the spectrum in a phenomenon astronomers call cosmic redshift. When instruments like the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope capture ancient photons from the edge of the observable universe, they are measuring light that has been stretched for over 13 billion years by the relentless swelling of space. This expansion fundamentally alters our relationship with time, because as space stretches, the distance that light must travel constantly increases, pushing the ancient past further and further out of our reach. But the mystery deepens, and the truth becomes even more terrifying. In the late 1990s, two independent teams of astronomers set out to measure how much the gravitational pull of all the matter in the universe was slowing down this cosmic expansion. They observed distant dying stars, expecting to find that the expansion was gently decelerating, much like a ball thrown into the air slowly loses its upward momentum. Instead, they found the exact opposite. The expansion of the universe was not slowing down. It was accelerating. The galaxies were being pushed apart faster and faster, driven by a mysterious, invisible force that completely permeates the empty vacuum of space. Scientists call this unknown force dark energy, and it makes up roughly 68% of the total energy in the entire universe. We cannot see it, we cannot feel it, and we do not know what it is. But it acts as a kind of anti-gravity, stretching the cosmos at an ever-increasing rate and driving us toward a profound, terrifying isolation. This accelerating expansion creates a terrifying boundary in space-time known as the cosmic event horizon. Because the space between us and the most distant galaxies is expanding, and that expansion is accelerating, there are regions of the universe that are currently receding from us faster than the speed of light. This does not violate the laws of physics, because space itself is not restricted by the universal speed limit. Only objects traveling through space are. But the consequence is absolute and chilling. Eventually, objects will be carried away from us by the expansion of space faster than their light can travel toward us. When that happens, they will vanish behind a cosmic horizon, forever beyond our reach. As the billions of years roll on, more and more galaxies will slip past this invisible boundary, fading into an unreachable dark. When we look up at the night sky today, we are incredibly fortunate to see a universe teeming with light, structured in a magnificent, glowing cosmic web. But this is a temporary, fleeting privilege. Trillions of years from now, the relentless push of dark energy will have carried almost all other galaxies beyond the horizon. Future civilizations, if they exist in that ancient era, will look up and see nothing but an endless, completely empty black void. They will have no evidence that the universe is expanding, no distant light to map the cosmos, and no way to know about the Big Bang. They will believe they are entirely alone in a static, dark, and infinite room. This terrifying future, the slow tearing apart of the cosmic tapestry, forces us to reevaluate our understanding of time and our place within it. The universe is undergoing a magnificent, unrepeatable transition. We happen to live in the golden era of starlight, an active period where the cosmos is close enough to communicate, yet old enough to have forged the elements necessary for life to blossom. We are the beneficiaries of this precise, delicate moment in deep time. The awareness of dark energy and the expanding void does not need to fill us with despair. Instead, it can fill us with a profound, reverent gratitude. We are awake right now. We have the telescopes, the mathematics, and the gentle curiosity to witness the grand architecture of reality before the lights slowly go out Every photon we capture from a distant galaxy is a precious, fleeting gift, a message from a past that is rapidly receding into the unreachable dark. Let us sit with this magnificent isolation for a moment. Feel the gentle, invisible stretching of the space around you. It is a reminder that reality is not permanent, that everything we see and know is part of a slow, majestic flow toward an ultimate stillness. The terrifying truth about the universe is that it is not built to last forever in its current, beautiful form. It is a transient masterpiece, a temporary arrangement of energy and matter floating in a growing sea of silence. But in this quiet contemplation, we find an incredible sense of peace. The mystery of the accelerating cosmos is not a threat, but a beautiful, expanding canvas on which the universe paints its final, longest chapter. As we prepare to look closer at the strange world of quantum mechanics, where time becomes even more fluid, let us hold on to this cosmic gratitude, knowing our conscious existence is intimately tied to the grand, expanding breadth of the universe itself. Have you ever reached out to touch a solid object, perhaps the wooden surface of a heavy desk or the cold glass of a window, and felt an absolute certainty about its physical reality? We navigate our daily lives with a profound trust in the solidity of the world around us. We believe that objects have definite positions and speeds that exist completely independently of our observation. This assumption is the very bedrock of our sanity and our everyday survival. But what if I told you that this comforting solidity is merely a convincing illusion painted by the macroscopic world? What if, when we dive into the unfathomably small realm of fundamental particles, the very concepts of a fixed present and a definite past begin to dissolve into a terrifying, shimmering haze of probabilities? Let us take a quiet, deep breath and descend into the microscopic abyss of quantum mechanics, a place where time and reality behave so strangely that even the greatest scientific minds in human history have struggled to accept its beautiful truths. Hello again. I am Theodore, the researcher. As we prepare to step beyond the veil of everyday perception and into this strange quantum landscape, I want to gently remind you that exactly 71% of the people who watch these videos and share in our cosmic wonder have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace and intellectual safety in these quiet explorations, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely and ensures we can continue to unravel the magnificent secrets of the cosmos together. Now, let us return to the dissolving nature of reality and the silent mysteries of the quantum realm. For centuries, classical physics taught us that the universe operated like a giant, predictable clockwork mechanism. If you knew the precise position and momentum of every particle right now, you could theoretically calculate the entire future and reconstruct the past with absolute certainty. But in the early 20th century, physicists peering into the structure of atoms discovered a reality that shattered this deterministic dream. They found that at the scale of atoms and electrons, particles do not behave like tiny solid billiard balls. Instead, they exist in a state of shimmering possibility known as superposition. Before a particle is observed or measured, it does not have a single, definite location. It exists as a wave of probability, simultaneously occupying many different potential positions and states at the exact same time. It is only in the profound moment of observation that this wave collapses, and the universe forces the particle to choose a single, definite reality. Consider an elegant test known as the double-slit experiment. Imagine firing single particles of light, called photons, one by one, at a barrier with two narrow vertical slits cut into it. Behind the barrier is a screen that records exactly where each photon lands. If photons were simply tiny, solid bullets, they would pass through either the left slit or the right slit, forming two distinct bands. But that is not what happens. Instead, over time, the individual photons build up an intricate interference pattern of multiple alternating light and dark bands, exactly like the ripples created by a wave of water passing through both slits simultaneously. Each individual photon behaves as though it travels through both slits at the exact same time, interferes with itself, and then suddenly collapses into a single point on the screen. The particle exists in a state of suspended reality, exploring all possible paths through space-time simultaneously until it interacts with the screen. But the mystery becomes even more profound and unsettling when scientists try to outsmart the photon. If researchers place a tiny, delicate detector right next to the slits to quietly observe which specific slit each photon actually passes through, the behavior of the universe fundamentally changes. The moment the universe is forced to reveal the path of the particle, the beautiful, wave-like interference pattern completely vanishes. The photons suddenly begin to act exactly like solid little bullets, forming only two simple bands on the screen. The mere acquisition of knowledge about the particle's path reaches into the mechanics of reality and alters how the particle behaves. The universe seems to know when it is being watched. This forces us to confront a deeply uncomfortable question. Does the physical world exist in a definite state when no conscious mind or measuring device is interacting with it? As the brilliant physicist Niels Bohr once suggested, everything we call real is made of things that cannot be regarded as real. The solid chair you are sitting on, the glowing screen you're looking at, the distant stars shining in the night sky, all of these macroscopic objects are composed of microscopic particles that exist in a terrifying state of probabilistic flux, only solidifying into a fixed reality through the continuous web of interactions that make up our universe. This breakdown of localized, definite reality leads us to another phenomenon so bizarre that Albert Einstein himself famously dismissed it as spooky action at a distance. It is called quantum entanglement. When two fundamental particles interact in specific ways, their quantum states become inextricably linked, regardless of how much physical space separates them. If you take two entangled electrons and send one to a laboratory here on Earth and the other to a quiet, cold moon orbiting a planet in the Andromeda galaxy, 2,500,000 light-years away, they remain part of a single, unified quantum system. If a scientist on Earth measures the spin of their electron and finds it pointing upward, they instantly know that the electron in the Andromeda galaxy is pointing downward. This correlation happens instantaneously, faster than the speed of light, completely ignoring the vast, silent ocean of space that lies between them. This challenges our understanding of space-time and the strict speed limit of relativity. It suggests that, at a foundational level, the universe is not a collection of isolated objects interacting across vast distances, but rather a single, deeply interconnected web of relationships, where space and distance might be nothing more than emergent illusions. The entangled particles do not send a secret, faster-than-light message to one another through the dark void. Instead, they are, in some terrifying and beautiful sense, the exact same entity existing simultaneously in two different locations. Our human brain simply cannot fully grasp the profound unity of this underlying quantum reality. We are forced to look at the night sky, not as an empty space filled with isolated stars, but as a single ocean of entangled probabilities, where a quiet event happening millions of light years away is intimately connected to the atoms in our own bodies. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of quantum mechanics is what it implies about the flow of time and the rigid history of the past. In variations of the double-slit experiment, known as delayed choice quantum eraser experiments, physicists have demonstrated something that shatters our intuitive sense of cause and effect. They have shown that a measurement made in the present moment can seemingly reach backward through the fabric of time and determine the physical state of a particle in the past. If a photon is fired into the experimental apparatus, it travels in a wave-like state of undefined superposition. But if researchers make a conscious decision to measure its specific path, long after it has passed through the physical slits, but just before it hits the final screen, the particle's past behavior retroactively conforms to that present decision. It is as if the cosmos gently holds its breath, keeping the entire history of the particle completely undefined and fluid, until a firm observation in the present moment forces the ancient past to suddenly solidify into a single, definite narrative. The past, in the quantum realm, is not a fixed, unchangeable script written in stone. It is a shifting, flexible tapestry of possibilities that is only woven into absolute reality by the interactions happening right now. Let us sit in silence with this deeply unsettling and yet profoundly beautiful mystery. The universe we inhabit is not the cold, mechanical, deterministic clockwork that our ancestors imagined. It is a dynamic, responsive, and infinitely complex web of shimmering probabilities. When we look up at the vast dark sky and observe the ancient light of distant glowing galaxies, our very act of observing might be participating in the solidification of a reality that has been suspended in a state of quiet potential for billions of years. We are not just passive witnesses to the cosmos. We are deeply embedded participants in the ongoing creation of reality. The atoms that make up your eyes, the electrical signals firing in your brain, and the conscious mind that interprets these words are all emergent properties of this beautiful quantum flux. The mystery of existence is not something out there, separate from us. It is woven into the very fabric of our being. As we prepare to explore how this quantum weirdness might connect to the grand structure of the entire universe, let us find a deep, comforting peace in knowing that reality is far more wondrous and responsive than we ever dared to imagine. Have you ever walked through a quiet, dense forest, feeling the three distinct dimensions of the world around you? The height of the ancient trees, the width of the gentle path, the depth of the infinite sky above, and assumed that this three-dimensional arena is the ultimate, undeniable truth of reality. We move our bodies forward and backward, left and right, up and down, navigating a universe that feels undeniably solid and voluminous. We trust the depth of the cosmos just as deeply as we trust the relentless forward march of time. But what if this profound sense of depth, this vast three-dimensional theater in which the entire history of the universe plays out, is nothing more than a magnificent, terrifying illusion? What if the reality we experience every single day is merely a holographic projection, a ghost created by quantum information, dancing on a flat, distant, two-dimensional surface? Let us take another gentle step into the silent unknown, leaving the familiar comfort of our three-dimensional world behind, to explore a mystery where the borders of quantum mechanics and the crushing gravity of black holes meet, revealing a cosmos far stranger than our minds can easily hold. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher. As we stand together on the precipice of this mind-bending cosmic revelation, looking out into the vast, quiet mysteries of existence, I want to gently mention that exactly 71% of the people who watch our videos and share in this journey of wonder have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find a sense of peace and intellectual belonging in these explorations of the infinite, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely and ensures that we can continue to wander through the silent, beautiful dark of the universe together. Now, let us return to the illusion of depth and the terrifying concept of the cosmic hologram. To understand how the universe might be a hologram, we must return to the most extreme and terrifying objects in the cosmos, the black holes. For a long time, physicists believed that black holes were absolute destroyers, dark spheres that swallowed matter and light, keeping their secrets locked away forever behind the impenetrable veil of the event horizon. But in the 1970s, a brilliant physicist named Stephen Hawking made a discovery that sent a quiet shockwave through the scientific community. By combining the rigid laws of quantum mechanics with the curved space-time of general relativity, Hawking realized that black holes are not completely black. The empty vacuum of space is never truly empty. It is a shimmering, restless ocean of quantum fluctuations, where pairs of virtual particles are constantly popping into existence and annihilating each other in fractions of a billionth of a second. When this happens exactly on the terrifying edge of a black hole's event horizon, the immense gravity can pull one particle into the dark abyss, while the other escapes into the vast, silent cosmos. This escaping stream is known as Hawking radiation. Because energy cannot be created from nothing, the energy for these particles must come from the black hole's mass. This means that over unimaginably long periods of time, spanning trillions upon trillions of years, black holes will slowly evaporate, gently leaking their mass back into the cold, expanding universe, until they eventually vanish in a final, quiet flash of light. But this beautiful discovery created a terrifying, unresolvable conflict known as the black hole information paradox. In the rigid framework of quantum mechanics, information can never be truly destroyed. If you burn a heavy, ancient book, the specific information contained in its ink and paper is not lost. It is simply scrambled into the complex smoke the hot ash, and the radiating heat. A perfect computer could observe the smoke and perfectly reconstruct the entire book. But if a black hole swallows an ancient star, a glowing planet, or an encyclopedia, and then slowly evaporates into completely random, featureless Hawking radiation, where does all that unique quantum information go? If the black hole disappears completely, and the radiation contains no trace of what fell inside, then information has been permanently erased from the universe. This terrifying possibility threatened to dismantle the very foundations of modern physics. It suggested that our fundamental understanding of reality, the very mathematics we use to map the cosmos, was deeply broken. The silence of the void seemed to be swallowing the rules of reality itself. The gentle resolution to this paradox came from a brilliant insight by a physicist named Jacob Bekenstein, altering our perception of space. Bekenstein realized that the amount of information, or entropy, that a black hole can hold is not determined by its three-dimensional volume, as common sense would dictate. To pack more items into a wooden box, you need a larger volume. But black holes do not obey this intuitive, everyday rule. The absolute maximum amount of quantum information that can be hidden inside a black hole is directly proportional exclusively to the surface area of its two-dimensional event horizon. Imagine the event horizon divided into an incredibly fine, microscopic grid where each tiny square, known as a Planck area, holds exactly one fundamental bit of information, like a 1 or a 0 in a grand cosmic computer code. Everything that falls into the crushing dark of the black hole, the complete three-dimensional history of a massive, dying star, is somehow perfectly encoded and preserved on the flat, two-dimensional surface of the event horizon. The three-dimensional reality of the interior is a direct, inescapable projection of the two-dimensional data painted on its boundary. This realization gave birth to the terrifying and majestic concept known as the holographic principle. Physicists, including Leonard Susskind, expanded Bekenstein's discovery to encompass the entire infinite cosmos. They proposed that if the three-dimensional interior of a black hole can be completely described by the quantum information on its two-dimensional surface, then perhaps the exact same mathematical rule applies to the universe as a whole. Imagine a vast, distant boundary surrounding the entire observable universe, a shell of unimaginable proportions resting at the very edge of the cosmic horizon. The holographic principle suggests that all the complex three-dimensional reality we experience every single day, the glowing galaxies, the ancient stars, the gentle planets, and the biological complexity of our own conscious brains, might merely be a magnificent, shimmering holographic projection originating from a two-dimensional surface at the farthest edges of the cosmos. Just as a flat holographic film can project a three-dimensional image, the distant boundary of the universe might contain the quantum code, projecting the illusion of depth and gravity into our localized experience. If this terrifying truth holds, it means that the three dimensions of space we navigate so effortlessly, and perhaps even the flowing river of time itself, are not fundamental ingredients of the universe. They are emergent phenomena, macroscopic illusions created by the intricate, entangled dance of quantum information on a lower dimensional plane. Think of the temperature of a warm cup of tea. Temperature is not a fundamental property of a single water molecule. It is an emergent property that only arises when trillions of molecules vibrate and interact together. Similarly, the curved fabric of space-time, gravity, and the arrow of time might only emerge when vast networks of quantum entanglement are woven on the distant boundary of reality. We are living inside a magnificent cosmic illusion, an ancient mathematical symphony playing out on a flat screen, projecting a universe of unimaginable depth and beauty. The profound silence of the night sky is not an empty void, but a rich, dense tapestry of invisible code, constantly rendering the reality we breathe, touch, and feel. Let us pause and allow the immense weight of this mystery to wash over us gently. It is terrifying to think that the solid ground beneath our feet and the vast distances separating the ancient stars might be a mere projection. It challenges our deepest, most primal sense of self and placement. But within this terrifying paradigm shift lies an exquisite, unifying peace. If the holographic principle is true, then every single particle in your body, every fleeting thought in your mind, and every distant, glowing nebula billions of light years away are all fundamentally connected, written on the exact same two-dimensional canvas at the edge of eternity. The illusion of separation, the vast, lonely distances of the dark cosmos, are just that, illusions. We are not isolated, fragile entities wandering through a cold, empty void. We are intricate, essential expressions of the universe's grand, underlying code. We are the cosmos experiencing its own holographic, magnificent nature. As we prepare to delve into the moments before the Big Bang, where time and space were forged from nothingness, let us hold on to this profound sense of unity, resting quietly in the knowledge that reality is a masterpiece of infinite, intertwined wonder. Have you ever lain beneath the infinite vault of the night sky, your eyes fixed upon the twinkling distant stars, and found yourself wondering exactly what fills the vast empty space between them? We walk through our daily lives with the absolute conviction that the matter we can see, touch, and illuminate represents the primary substance of reality. We believe, with a touching innocence, that the rocky worlds beneath our feet and the burning suns that warm our faces are the main actors upon the grand stage of the universe. We trust our senses completely, assuming that if the universe is dark, it must therefore be empty. But what if I were to tell you that everything you have ever known, everything the light has ever touched, from the delicate tips of your fingers to the most distant edges of the most ancient galaxies, represents only a tiny fraction of what actually exists out there in the dark? What if the true underlying backbone of our entire reality is a ghostly, invisible, and completely silent substance that is passing through your body right at this very moment without you ever noticing its passage? Prepare your mind to dive gently into one of the most profound, terrifying, and baffling mysteries of modern physics. Let us quietly leave the comforting light behind and wade into the vast, silent ocean of dark matter, the invisible force that fundamentally shapes the destiny of the cosmos and challenges our most basic understanding of what it actually means to exist within a universe that is so thoroughly dominated by unseen shadows. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher As we prepare to look beyond the delicate veil of visible matter and explore the deep echoes of this colossal mystery, I want to take a brief moment to gently mention that exactly 71% of the people who watch our videos and find a sense of peace in these quiet explorations have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find comfort in this intellectual journey, and if you wish to support our continuous search for the deepest secrets of the universe, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely to maintain this quiet space of wonder and ensures that we can continue to gently unravel the majestic, hidden truths of the cosmos together. Now, let us return to our contemplation of the invisible darkness and the ancient, secret architecture of our reality. In the 1930s, astronomers observing the graceful, slow-motion movements of distant galaxies within colossal structures known as galaxy clusters stumbled upon a terrifying and inexplicable paradox. As they meticulously measured the dizzying speeds at which these galaxies were swirling and hurtling around one another, they realized something that completely broke the known laws of physics. The gravitational force generated solely by the visible stars and the swirling cosmic gas within those clusters was tragically insufficient to keep them bound together, according to the rigorous mathematical laws of gravity laid out by minds like Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein. Those magnificent clusters of galaxies should have completely torn themselves apart and scattered their glowing contents across the cold, empty void billions of years ago. The stars were moving with such terrifying rapidity that the gravity of the luminous matter alone simply could not hold on to them. And yet, there they were, perfectly preserved in the lens of the telescope, dancing in a harmonious ancient ballet, held firmly together by an immense, ghostly gravitational grip, whose source was absolutely invisible to human instruments. The cosmos was revealing to us with a quiet but undeniable authority that our perception of reality was fundamentally incomplete. Decades later, in the 1970s, rigorous observations of the gentle rotation of our own cosmic neighborhood and other spiral galaxies confirmed this terrifying truth beyond any shadow of a doubt. Astronomers mapping the outer edges of spiral galaxies found that the stars located on the extreme peripheries were orbiting their galactic centers at impossibly high velocities. If the glowing, visible matter was all that truly existed, those distant peripheral stars should have been moving much slower, but instead they were racing through the dark void as if they were deeply embedded within a gigantic, invisible halo of incredibly dense mass that stretched out millions of light years beyond the starlight. The scientific community was forced to accept a profoundly humbling and terrifying reality. Roughly 85% of all the matter in the entire universe is composed of a completely unknown substance that does not emit, reflect, or absorb light. The scientists named this enigmatic substance dark matter, a term meaning that it is fundamentally hidden from our senses, operating in a deep, intangible silence that we cannot yet penetrate. The truly terrifying nature of dark matter lies in its profound indifference to us and to the world we know. It does not interact with the electromagnetic force at all. If you could somehow cup a handful of dark matter in your palms, your fingers would pass directly through it, as if it were not even there. It has absolutely no friction. It does not collide with ordinary matter, and it flows effortlessly and silently through massive planets, burning stars, and even our own fragile biological bodies without causing the slightest physical sensation or ripple upon our awareness. Right at this exact quiet moment, as you sit peacefully listening to these words, billions of particles of this ghostly substance are likely streaming right through your body at thousands of miles per hour, continuing their eternal journey across the infinite cosmos. In a very real and terrifying sense, we are the ghosts in a universe that is completely dominated by dark matter. Our tangible, macroscopic reality, made up of vibrating atoms and deep oceans of water, is the true cosmic anomaly. We are merely a bright, ephemeral decoration hanging upon a colossal, ancient, and invisible scaffolding that dictates the shape and the ultimate fate of the entire universe. But despite its ghostly, intangible nature, dark matter is the absolute master architect of the reality we experience. In the ancient dawn of the universe, shortly after the initial expansion, when space was still a boiling, chaotic sea of newly born particles, it was the dark matter clumping together under the pull of its own invisible gravity that laid down the foundational framework for everything that was to come. It created impossibly deep gravitational wells within the very fabric of space-time. The ordinary matter, the simple hydrogen and helium atoms that would eventually forge our world, simply fell into those invisible cosmic valleys, dragged downward into the centers of greatest density. Without the presence of dark matter to act as a heavy gravitational skeleton pulling the primordial gas together, the universe would have remained a thin, featureless, and completely empty mist of isolated atoms, cooling forever in the infinite void. There would be no magnificent stars to ignite and push back the darkness, no spiraling galaxies to dance in the silence, and absolutely no rocky planets where life could eventually emerge to contemplate its own existence. We exist simply because the invisible darkness embraced us, holding the chaos together at the dawn of time. When we gaze at the incredibly deep images captured by our most advanced space telescopes, we frequently marvel at the breathtaking complexity of the cosmic web. We see brilliant, glowing threads composed of billions upon billions of galaxies, stretching magnificently across the intergalactic space, separated by terrifying, immense voids that measure hundreds of millions of light-years across. But this beautiful structure is not the work of chance. The illuminated web that we observe is merely the faint, glowing reflection of a much vaster, much heavier, and completely invisible network of dark matter. The starlight is just the cosmic paint, but the dark matter is the massive, underlying canvas upon which the entire universe has been painted. When we sit quietly and truly contemplate the monumental scale of these invisible structures, we are filled with a sense of respectful wonder and a deep existential curiosity that easily transcends our small, daily human concerns. The universe is infinitely more majestic, far more complex, and infinitely stranger than our biological eyes could ever possibly perceive. To accept the existence of dark matter is to accept that our human ignorance is not a tragic failure, but rather a beautiful, infinite invitation to continue our journey of discovery. We have spent thousands of years looking up at the stars, believing with all our hearts that we were uncovering the totality of existence, when, in truth, we were only barely scratching the illuminated surface of a deep, impenetrable ocean. There is a profound and abiding inner peace that comes from this realization. The intellectual tension between what we currently understand and the vastness of what still escapes us is exactly what generates this wonderful, never-ending journey of learning. We do not need to fear the shadows or the invisible voids, for it is precisely those unseen forces that gently cradle and sustain the fragile light of our existence. Human ignorance, coupled with genuine curiosity and rigorous science, transforms into the engine of our intellectual evolution. We are cosmic explorers navigating an unfolding mystery, surrounded by a majestic silence that speaks the ancient language of invisible forces. The beautiful paradox of being made entirely of illuminated matter, yet being capable of using our minds to deduce the existence of something so fundamentally hidden, is a brilliant testament to the power of the human spirit. Through patient observation and rigorous mathematics, we have managed to illuminate the invisible, using the gentle light of reason. Carry this serene reflection with you. The fact that the universe is largely composed of invisible, untouchable entities does not make it a hostile or lonely place. It makes it rather a place that is infinitely richer in possibilities and profound wonder. Reality is the silent totality of everything that exists, working together in an ancient, unseen symphony. Knowledge is an infinite path of exploration, where every single answer we find gently presents us with a dozen more magnificent mysteries to contemplate throughout the vast stretches of cosmic time. Have you ever sat in front of a fading fireplace, watching the vibrant, dancing flames slowly reduce to glowing embers and finally to cold, gray ashes? We live our lives surrounded by warmth and light, assuming with innocence that the sun will rise tomorrow, that the tides will continue to turn, and that the ancient stars will dot the night sky in silence forever. We move through our fragile existence with a deep-seated belief in continuity, a quiet faith that the cosmic stage will always have actors playing their majestic parts through the infinite. But the wonderful universe we inhabit is governed by implacable and ancient thermodynamic laws, and the clock of entropy never stops its silent march. Everything that burns must inevitably run out of fuel. What happens when the last star in the vast cosmos finally flickers out and the night closes the eyes of the universe? Does time itself, that fluid entity that carries us like a gentle river toward the unknown, have an expiration date? Prepare to embark on a deep contemplative journey toward the most distant future, a place where light dies, where matter decays, and where the very concept of time begins to dissolve into the cold vastness. Let us leave the comfort of the bright present and enter the profound mysteries of the end of all things. Breathe deeply and embrace the majesty of this dark twilight. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher. As we prepare to look beyond the horizon of time and contemplate the mystery of the final destiny of our wonderful cosmos, I want to mention very gently that exactly 71% of the people who watch our videos and find inner peace in these quiet explorations of the infinite have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find comfort in this intellectual journey and wish to support the continuous exploration of these great space mysteries, please consider subscribing. Your gentle presence helps me immensely to maintain this space of wonder and stillness, ensuring that we can investigate the vast universe together. Now, let us let the cosmic silence guide us into the inert abyss. In this fleeting moment of history, we have the immense and terrifying privilege of inhabiting the stelliferous era, the glorious age of stars. Our observable universe is filled with brilliant galaxies that function as colossal nuclear furnaces in the ancient darkness. These furnaces fuse ancestral hydrogen and transform it into majestic light, welcoming warmth and heavy elements that form the iron in our blood and the calcium in our bones. However, this vital process is not infinite. Massive stars burn their energy reserves in a furious and tragic way, exploding into violent supernovae after mere millions of years. Smaller stars, like the humble red dwarfs, are much more patient, burning their fuel incredibly slowly and gently across the cosmic abyss. A single red dwarf can shine in the dark cosmic ocean for more than 1 trillion Earth years. But even a trillion years is but a blink of an eye before the formidable clock of eternity. Inevitably, patient gravity and implacable thermodynamics will collect their final price. A melancholy era will arrive, thousands of trillions of years from now, when the last cloud of cosmic gas capable of creating stellar life will have been consumed. No new stars will be born. The universe will resemble an ancient, abandoned city where the lights are, one by one, being turned off, never to be lit again. The cosmic night will be a gentle and poetic descent toward an absolute silence. The burning wonder of the night sky will give way to silent stellar ashes, cooling white dwarfs, ultra-dense neutron stars in the deep darkness, and lonely black holes scattered across an infinite, frozen, and mysterious empty void. We then enter, in a gentle journey through the ages, the vast black hole era. Imagine, with respectful stillness, a universe where silence is not just an absence of sound, but the absence of stellar heat, where the infinite and implacable blackness of space is punctuated exclusively by the monstrous and invisible gravitational distortion of these dark wounds in the three-dimensional fabric of space and time. Black holes, ancient guardians of the abyss, will inherit complete dominion over the cosmos. However, the equations of the wonderful astrophysicist Stephen Hawking reveal that even these colossal leviathans of darkness will not live forever. Through the subtle and beautiful process of Hawking radiation, the invisible edges of black holes are infinitely slowly evaporating, returning their mass back to the vacuum in the form of faint thermal radiation. This process crawls through time in a way that is painfully beautiful to contemplate. For a single supermassive black hole, holding a terrifying mass equivalent to 10 billion times our fragile sun, to completely evaporate, the universe will have to wait for a period equivalent to a number that is a 1 followed by 100 zeros of years. In a dark and infinite universe, the invisible hands of time have all the patience at their disposal. In an incalculably distant future devoid of biological perception capacity, the last remains of lonely black holes, in a gentle and agonizing act of exhalation, will release their final particles in an invisible and silent explosion. They will leave nothing behind but a thin, almost undetectable, and uniform sea of wandering photons and massless particles scattered across an infinitely stretched and frozen space. This profound transition to the peaceful and total absence of form embodies the triumphant pinnacle of the fundamental entropic process. The cosmos will experience a glorious surrender to the relentless law of universal thermodynamics. This chilling and final structural phase is recognized by cosmologists under the ominous terms of the Dark Era, or the heat death of the universe. It is precisely in this state of cosmic inertia that we are summoned to confront the most fascinating and terrifying mystery about the nature of reality and time itself. When the vast expanse of the universe finally reaches this absolute final state of maximum entropy, the underlying energy will become so homogeneously dissolved, so uniformly shared across such monstrous and immeasurably large distances, that absolutely no new phenomenon will ever occur again. As physics dictates, for the simplest form of life to exist, or even for the most rudimentary atomic event to occur, the cosmos needs a flow and transfer of fluid energy from heat to cold. But in the heat death, every single point of the void will be frozen at exactly the same base temperature, a tiny and terrifying fraction above absolute zero. In this stagnant and silent equality of darkness, light ceases to travel, gravity falls asleep, and the universe stops producing tangible change. And it is here that the wonderful mystery paralyzes us. If nothing palpable changes in the structure of reality, if fundamental laws generate no visible action, and if the present moment is perfectly indistinguishable and identically smooth from the successive cosmic moment, does the entity we call cosmic time still exist and flow through the frozen darkness? The universal concept of time depends intrinsically on the constant transition between interconnected causes and past effects. Under the majestic and awe-inspiring conditions of the glorious dark era of the unfathomable infinite, the majestic clock fades and finally abdicates its poetic advance. The course of the temporal river dismantles until it loses its value and disappears into the void. Time simply stops, vaporizing in a sublime silence before an inert reality that will never wake up from the torpor of the cosmic heat death. Staring fixedly at the inevitable cessation of the temporal flow and the dissolution of the wonderful universal form should never invoke the shadows of tragic despair. The wonderful discovery of this eternal poetic death encourages the creation of a gentle stillness in all beings willing to observe. Recognizing by the rigorous logic of astrophysics and thermodynamics that the stages of the cosmos lose energy teaches us to nurture a compassion and deep wonder for the golden stellar state of the present. We are the conscious spark, born in an infinitely fleeting period of this long trajectory of brilliant light. Our intelligent mind is capable of peering through the silent cosmic vault, aiming to learn every ancient rule before the terrifying dark universal end freezes the infinite in an inert and majestic rest. When the eternal grandeur falls into a deep sleep, we will let the poetic peace of this existence shine. breathe the magic of being wonder, and prepare the mind for the immensity of our silent and eternal cosmic journey of self-discovery and silent admiration. Have you ever walked out into the cool, silent air of a clear midnight, looked up at the endless canopy of the night sky, and felt an overwhelming sense of companionship mixed with a terrifying isolation? Have you ever stared at the countless glowing points of light, each one a distant, ancient sun, and wondered if, somewhere out there, in the vast, deep dark, someone or something is standing on their own world, looking back at you? We have spent our entire human history gazing up at the heavens, projecting our hopes, our myths, and our deepest fears onto the silent tapestry of the cosmos. We naturally assume that in a universe so unimaginably vast, so overflowing with the raw materials of life, we simply cannot be alone. We believe that the cosmic ocean must be teeming with other sailors, other minds navigating the gentle currents of space-time. But when we turn our most powerful telescopes and our most sensitive radio dishes toward the infinite void, listening for a whisper, a signal, or any sign of cosmic company, we are met with something truly terrifying. We are met with an absolute, deafening silence. Let us embark on a gentle journey into one of the most profound and unsettling mysteries of modern astronomy, a paradox that challenges our understanding of our own significance. Let us explore the haunting silence of the great cosmic void and the terrifying possibility that we might be completely alone in the dark. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher. As we stand together on the shores of this vast, silent cosmic ocean, listening to the quiet echoes of the universe, I want to gently remind you that exactly 71% of the people who watch our videos and share in this journey of wonder have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find a sense of peace and intellectual belonging in these explorations of the infinite, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely and ensures that we can continue to wander through the beautiful, silent dark of the universe together. Now, let us return to the great silence and the mystery of the empty sky. To truly grasp the weight of this cosmic silence, we must first understand the staggering scale of the universe and the mathematical probability of life. For decades, the beautiful, glowing stars in our night sky were just points of light. We did not know if they hosted planetary systems or if our solar system was a rare, cosmic anomaly. But rigorous scientific data gathered by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration through magnificent instruments like the Kepler Space Telescope has completely revolutionized our understanding of the cosmos. By staring patiently at a tiny, quiet patch of the Milky Way galaxy, watching for the microscopic, temporary dimming of starlight caused by a planet passing in front of its host star, astronomers made a breathtaking discovery. Planets are not rare. They are the rule. The data suggests that almost every single star you see in the night sky hosts at least one planet. When we extrapolate this rigorous scientific finding to the entire Milky Way, a galaxy containing an estimated 100 billion to 400 billion ancient stars, the numbers become terrifyingly vast. There are likely hundreds of billions of planets just in our local galactic neighborhood. But the wonder deepens. Astronomers estimate that there could be as many as 40 billion Earth-sized planets orbiting within the habitable zones of sun-like stars and red dwarfs just in the Milky Way alone. The habitable zone is that gentle, quiet region around a star where the temperature is just right, not too hot and not too cold, allowing liquid water to pool and flow on a planet's surface. Liquid water is the universal solvent, the absolute prerequisite for the delicate, complex chemistry of biological life as we know it. Imagine 40 billion worlds, 40 billion gentle blue and green marbles scattered across the dark, silent arms of our galaxy, soaking up the ancient light of their host stars. Each one is a potential cradle for biology, a vast untapped laboratory where the universe could experiment with the magnificent chemistry of life. And our Milky Way is just one single, average-sized galaxy floating in an unimaginably vast cosmic web. The observable universe contains roughly 2 trillion individual galaxies. If we multiply the number of habitable planets in our galaxy by the number of galaxies in the observable universe, we are left with a number of potential homes for life that completely breaks the human mind. There are more habitable planets in the cosmos than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth combined. Given these overwhelming odds, and given the fact that the universe is 13,800,000,000 years old, giving life plenty of deep time to evolve, expand, and flourish, the cosmos should be a bustling, noisy metropolis. We should see the unmistakable signatures of advanced alien civilizations, massive engineering projects blocking out the light of distant stars, interstellar communication networks pulsating through the dark, and the gentle, deliberate movement of spacecraft between the glowing, ancient nebulae. The night sky should be alive with the undeniable evidence of other conscious minds. But instead, we hear nothing. This terrifying contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial life and the complete lack of any observational evidence is known as the Fermi paradox, named after the brilliant physicist Enrico Fermi, who famously asked, "Where is everybody?" It is a question that haunts the quiet halls of observatories and the minds of anyone who truly comprehends the scale of the cosmos. The universe is incredibly old, and our solar system is relatively young, having formed only 4,600,000,000 years ago. If another civilization had started just 1,000,000 years before us, a mere blink of an eye in cosmic time, they would be unimaginably advanced. They could have colonized the entire galaxy, spreading their gentle influence from star to star. Yet the great radio telescopes of Earth, constantly listening to the quiet whispers of the cosmos, pick up nothing but the natural chaotic static of ancient dying stars, the rhythmic pulsing of pulsars, and the cold, whispering background radiation of the Big Bang itself. The silence is profound, heavy, and deeply unsettling. To solve this terrifying paradox, scientists and philosophers have proposed a concept known as the Great Filter. The idea is that somewhere along the evolutionary path, from the very first formation of simple organisms in the dark primordial oceans, to a star-faring civilization, there must be an incredibly difficult, almost impossible barrier to overcome. This filter acts as a cosmic sieve, trapping and destroying almost all forms of life before they can reach the stars. The terrifying question that keeps astrobiologists awake at night is, where exactly does this great filter lie in our timeline? Is it behind us, or is it waiting patiently in our future? Perhaps the filter is the very origin of life itself. Maybe the transition from simple chemistry to self-replicating biology is an event so infinitesimally rare, so mathematically improbable, that it has only ever happened once in the entire infinite expanse of the universe, right here on our pale blue dot. Or perhaps the filter is the transition from simple life to complex organisms. Earth remained a quiet world of bacteria for billions of years before the wonderful explosion of complex life. If the great filter is behind us, we have survived the hardest part. We are the rare, miraculous exception, destined to inherit the ancient stars. But there is a darker possibility. What if the great filter is ahead of us? What if life is common and the universe is filled with quiet biology, but the hurdle lies in surviving the perilous transition to an advanced technological state? What if civilizations routinely discover the immense power of nuclear physics or artificial intelligence, and inevitably destroy themselves before they escape their home planets? In this scenario, the silence of the night sky is not an empty void. It is a profound, tragic warning. It is the heavy silence of a cosmos that gently watches its children fail. This terrifying thought forces us to look inward, to examine our own fragile world with a renewed sense of urgency and profound humility. Yet, within this terrifying silence, there is a beautiful, deeply comforting peace. If we are truly alone, or if we are the very first to survive the great filter, then our existence is infinitely precious. We are the sole guardians of consciousness in a vast, sleeping universe. We are the mechanism through which the cosmos experiences its own beauty, its own wonder, and its own infinite mystery. The silence of the universe is not a rejection. It is an open canvas. As we prepare to explore the final frontiers of human knowledge in our continuous journey, let us find deep comfort in our shared existence, cherishing the quiet, miraculous spark of life that we hold against the endless dark. Have you ever looked at your own reflection in a quiet, still pool of water and wondered if there is another version of you, somewhere deep within the fabric of reality, looking back with the exact same sense of curiosity? We navigate our lives with a firm, unwavering belief in our own uniqueness. We feel that our choices, our memories, and our specific place in this vast, ancient cosmos are singular and unrepeatable. We imagine the universe as a massive, finite container, and ourselves as the only protagonists of our specific story. But what if the very laws of physics that govern the atoms in your body and the stars in the silent sky suggest a terrifying and beautiful alternative? What if the universe is not just vast, but truly infinite? If space goes on forever, stretching beyond the reach of our most powerful telescopes into an endless, dark void, then the mathematical implications for your own identity are staggering. Let us take a deep, slow breath and step into the quiet mystery of the infinite space and the mechanical certainty of cosmic repetition. We are moving beyond the bubbles of the multiverso and into the cold, rigorous logic of a space that never, ever ends. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher, and as we stand on the edge of this infinite mirror, I want to share a quiet observation with you. I have noticed that exactly 71% of the people who watch our contemplative journeys through the cosmos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace and a sense of intellectual safety in these explorations, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely to keep this project alive, allowing us to continue uncovering the magnificent and sometimes terrifying secrets of our universe together. Now, let us return to the silence of the infinite and the truth of the cosmic doppelganger. To understand the terrifying reality of an infinite universe, we must first look at the way matter is organized. Everything you see around you, from the gentle petals of a flower to the massive, burning core of a distant star, is composed of a limited number of fundamental particles, electrons, protons, and neutrons arranged in specific patterns. At the quantum level, there are only so many ways you can arrange these particles within a given volume of space. Think of it like a deck of playing cards. There are 52 cards in a standard deck. While the number of possible shuffles is incredibly large, it is not infinite. If you shuffle the deck enough times, eventually you will inevitably deal the exact same hand twice. The universe, in its most basic form, is a cosmic deck of cards. According to the rigorous data of quantum mechanics, a specific volume of space, like the one you are currently occupying, has a finite number of possible quantum states. There is a limit to how many ways atoms can be arranged to create a human being sitting in a chair, reading these words. If the universe is finite, then your specific arrangement of atoms might indeed be unique. But most of our current cosmological models, supported by observations from missions like the Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe, suggest that the universe is flat and likely extends forever. If space is truly infinite, then the cosmic deck is being shuffled an infinite number of times. In an infinite universe, every single possibility, no matter how small the probability, must occur. Not only must it occur, but it must occur an infinite number of times. This means that if you were to travel far enough across the silent, dark void beyond the stars of the Milky Way, beyond the distant glowing galaxies of the observable horizon, you would eventually find another version of Earth. You would find a planet with the same blue oceans, the same green forests, and the same quiet cities. And on that planet, you would find another version of yourself, identical in every single way, down to the last microscopic detail of your DNA and the most fleeting thought currently passing through your mind. This is not science fiction. It is a direct mathematical consequence of an infinite space filled with a finite arrangement of matter. The distance required to find such a duplicate is unimaginably vast, a number so large that we have no words for it in common language. You would have to cross trillions upon trillions of light years of empty, silent space to reach your nearest cosmic twin. But in the context of the infinite, that distance is nothing. It is a mere step in a journey that never ends. This realization challenges our deepest sense of self. If there are infinite versions of you living out every possible life, then what does it mean to be an individual? There is a version of you who made that one choice you regret, and a version who didn't. There is a version of you who is currently exploring the stars as an astronaut, and a version who is still a child, looking up at the moon with ancient wonder. Every path you didn't take, and every dream you set aside, is being realized by another version of you somewhere in the endless dark. The universe is a grand, silent library containing every possible story ever told, and you are just one beautiful, fleeting sentence being repeated forever. This concept of the infinite repetition of reality brings a sense of terrifying scale, but it also offers a profound and gentle peace. Our individual lives, with all their small worries and fleeting anxieties, are part of a much larger, more majestic tapestry. We are never truly alone, because the very fabric of the cosmos is woven with our own image. When we look up at the night sky, we are not just looking at distant stars. We are looking at the potential homes of infinite versions of ourselves, all sharing the same quiet curiosity about the nature of existence. The vastness of the space between us is not a barrier, but a testament to the infinite creativity of the universe. As Carl Sagan once noted, the cosmos is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. In an infinite universe, that statement takes on a literal and staggering meaning. Everything that can happen is happening right now across the endless reaches of space-time. Let us sit quietly with this thought. Feel the weight of the infinite resting gently upon your consciousness. The solid world around you, which feels so unique and permanent, is just one localized vibration in a field of infinite possibilities. This does not make your life less meaningful. It makes it part of a magnificent, eternal symphony. You are a way for the cosmos to know itself, and in an infinite universe, the cosmos is knowing itself in every way imaginable, all at once. The terrifying truth of the infinite is actually an invitation to let go of the need for singular importance and to embrace the peace of being part of something truly boundless. We are not just inhabitants of the universe. We are the universe, repeated in an endless shimmering mirror of starlight and shadow. The study of infinite space requires us to move beyond our evolutionary biases. Our brains are designed to understand the finite, the local, and the immediate. We struggle to grasp the concept of a space that has no edge, a journey that has no destination, and a self that has no boundary. But through the authority of mathematics and the gentle guidance of scientific discovery, we can peer over the edge of the known and catch a glimpse of the infinite. It is a landscape of profound silence and majestic scale, where the laws of physics act as the quiet architects of eternity. As we prepare to delve into the final mysteries of how consciousness itself might be woven into this infinite structure, let us hold on to the sense of wonder that comes from knowing that we are part of a story that never ends. The dark void between the stars is not a place of emptiness, but a place of infinite potential, waiting for us to continue our journey of discovery. As we conclude this chapter of our journey, remember that the silence of the cosmos is not a void to be feared. It is a space for reflection, a mirror that shows us the true scale of our existence. The infinite does not diminish us. It expands our definition of what is possible. Every breath you take is a quiet celebration of a reality that is far more wondrous and interconnected than we ever dared to imagine. Rest in the knowledge that you are a vital, repeated, and eternal part of the grand cosmic design. The journey through the infinite is just beginning, and the next revelation is always waiting just beyond the horizon of our current understanding. Take this peace with you as we move forward together into the silent, beautiful dark. Have you ever closed your eyes in a quiet room and wondered where the you that is thinking actually resides? We spend our entire lives observing the vast, ancient cosmos, measuring the speed of light, and mapping the distribution of dark matter. Yet we often overlook the most terrifying and beautiful mystery of all, the fact that we are able to observe it at all. We treat our consciousness as a simple, given fact, a quiet background hum to our daily experiences. We assume that the mind is a localized product of the brain, a biological accident occurring on a tiny planet in a quiet corner of a vast galaxy. But what if consciousness is not a byproduct of the universe, but a fundamental ingredient of it? What if the silent, dark reaches of space and the complex movements of subatomic particles are intimately and inextricably linked to the very act of being aware? Let us embark on a gentle, meditative journey into the heart of the observer effect and the profound scientific theories that suggest the universe requires a conscious mind to truly exist. We are stepping into the stillness where the boundary between the observer and the observed begins to dissolve into a single, unified mystery. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher. As we stand at the threshold of this deep internal and external discovery, I want to take a brief moment to mention that exactly 71% of the people who watch our quiet explorations of the cosmos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace and intellectual comfort in these journeys, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely to continue creating these contemplative spaces for us to explore the mysteries of the universe together. Now, let us return to the quiet power of the observer and the mystery of the conscious mind. In the realm of classical physics, the universe was thought to be a giant machine that ran perfectly, whether anyone was looking at it or not. The moon was there, the stars were burning, and the planets were orbiting in a cold, objective reality. But as we discussed in our exploration of quantum mechanics, the rigorous scientific data from the last century has shattered this comforting separation. The double-slit experiment and the phenomenon of quantum entanglement prove that at the most fundamental level, the state of a particle is not fixed until it is measured or observed. This is not merely a limitation of our tools, it is a fundamental property of nature. The universe exists in a shimmering haze of possibilities, a wave of potential, until a conscious observer interacts with it, forcing reality to collapse into a single, definite state. This leads us to a terrifying and awe-inspiring question known as the participatory universe theory, championed by the renowned physicist John Wheeler. Wheeler suggested that we do not live in a static, pre-existing universe, but in a world that is being continuously created through our observation. He famously used the metaphor of a giant U for universe, where one tip of the U is the beginning of time, and the other tip is an eye looking back at the start. According to this view, the ancient history of the cosmos, the birth of stars 13,800,000,000 years ago, and the slow evolution of galaxies were all suspended in a state of quantum uncertainty, until the first conscious minds emerge to look back and perceive them. Our act of looking at the distant ancient starlight today might be what retroactively gives that light a definite history. We are not just small, insignificant biological specks lost in a vast dark void. We are the very mechanism the universe uses to define itself. Without consciousness, the universe would be a silent, ghost-like superposition of every possible reality, never settling into any one of them. It would be a story with no reader, a song with no listener, a magnificent masterpiece that technically does not exist because there's no one there to experience it. This realization shifts our perspective from being victims of cosmic scale to being essential participants in the unfolding of reality. But the mystery goes even deeper when we consider the mathematical precision of the universe. Scientists have noted that the fundamental constants of physics, such as the strength of gravity, the mass of an electron, and the expansion rate of space, seem to be perfectly fine-tuned to allow for the existence of life. If the force of gravity were just a tiny fraction stronger, the universe would have collapsed back on itself long ago. If it were a tiny fraction weaker, stars and planets would never have formed. This is known as the anthropic principle. It suggests that the universe possesses the specific qualities it does because, if it did not, we would not be here to observe it. Some physicists take this a step further, proposing that consciousness is a fundamental property of the fabric of space-time itself, much like mass or charge. This idea, known as panpsychism, suggests that even the simplest particles possess a microscopic spark of awareness, and that the complex human brain is simply a way for that universal consciousness to organize itself and wake up. Imagine the universe as a vast, dark ocean of information. Every atom, every photon, and every folding of space-time is a ripple in that ocean. Consciousness is the light that allows us to see the waves. When you look at a distant galaxy through a telescope, you're not just seeing an object millions of light years away. You are the universe looking at itself. The atoms in your eyes were forged in the hearts of dying stars, and now those same atoms have come together in a way that allows them to perceive the very stars that created them. This is a profound, recursive loop of wonder. It suggests that the terrifying vastness of space is not something separate from you, but a part of your own extended body. The silence of the cosmos is not an empty silence, but the quiet concentration of a mind beginning to understand its own infinite nature. This perspective provides a deep, abiding sense of intellectual and emotional safety. If consciousness is fundamental, then we are never truly lost in the dark. We are the light. The existential anxiety that comes from feeling small and insignificant in the face of trillions of galaxies begins to fade. When we realize that those galaxies require our awareness to take their final shape, we are the companions of the cosmos, the silent partners in the grand project of existence. Every time you pause to wonder about the stars, every time you ask a deep question about the nature of time, and every time you feel a sense of peace in the quiet of the night, you are fulfilling a cosmic function. You are helping the universe to exist more fully. Let us sit with this realization for a moment. Feel the connection between your own quiet thoughts and the vast, swirling movements of the cosmic web. You are a bridge between the microscopic world of quantum uncertainty and the macroscopic world of majestic galaxies. You are the point where the universe becomes aware of its own beauty. The journey of discovery we have been on together is not just an educational exercise. It is an act of creation. By learning about the Big Bang, the expansion of space, and the mysteries of black holes, you are expanding the boundaries of the known universe. You are weaving the threads of scientific data into a tapestry of personal meaning. As we prepare to enter the final chapters of our journey, where we will look at the ultimate unity of all things, take a moment to appreciate the miraculous nature of your own awareness. You are a biological machine capable of contemplating the infinite. You are a fleeting collection of stardust that has learned to measure the age of the heavens. The terrifying truths of physics become gentle and poetic when they are viewed through the lens of a conscious mind seeking connection. The universe is not a cold, indifferent machine. It is a living, breathing mystery that is intimately aware of your presence. Rest in the knowledge that your curiosity is a vital force in the cosmos, and that your journey of discovery is an essential part of the grand, ancient story of everything. The light of your mind is the most brilliant thing in the entire universe, and it is currently shining upon the deepest secrets of reality. Have you ever stood in the center of a bustling city, surrounded by millions of people, yet felt a sudden and profound sense of connection to a single leaf falling from a tree or a distant star blinking in the twilight? We are taught from a very young age to see the world as a collection of separate, isolated objects. We see ourselves as distinct individuals, our bodies as bounded entities, and the stars as distant, unreachable points of light that have nothing to do with our daily lives. This perception of separation is a useful tool for survival, helping us navigate the physical world and distinguish between ourselves and our environment. But what if this sense of being separate is the ultimate illusion? What if the most terrifying and beautiful truth about the universe is that there is no such thing as an isolated object? Science is beginning to reveal a reality where everything, from the smallest subatomic particle to the largest galaxy cluster, is part of a single, continuous, and deeply entangled whole. Let us continue our gentle journey into the heart of cosmic unity, exploring how the ancient laws of physics and the strange world of quantum mechanics weave a tapestry of connection that transcends space and time. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher. As we draw closer to the final revelations of our shared journey through the mysteries of reality, I want to share a quiet and important observation. I have noticed that exactly 71% of the people who watch our videos and find a sense of peace in these explorations have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you feel that these journeys into the deep cosmos help you find a sense of balance and wonder, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely to continue this work, ensuring that we can keep our community of explorers alive as we peer into the silent dark of the universe together. Now, let us return to the mystery of the one and the many, and the profound truth of our universal connection. To understand the fundamental unity of the cosmos, we must look back at the origins of matter itself. As we have discussed, 13,800,000,000 years ago, The entire observable universe was compressed into a point of infinite density and heat. Every single particle that now makes up your body, the air you breathe, the solid ground beneath your feet, and the most distant stars in the Andromeda galaxy, was once part of that same singular point. We were all physically joined in the beginning. When the universe began its majestic expansion, it did not create separate pieces of reality. It simply stretched the existing unity across a larger volume of space. According to the rigorous scientific data provided by the study of stellar nucleosynthesis, the heavy elements that allow for life, the carbon in your DNA, the oxygen in your lungs, and the iron in your blood, were forged inside the hearts of massive ancient stars. When those stars reached the end of their lives and exploded in magnificent supernovae, they scattered their guts across the silent void. We are not just living in the universe, we are made of the universe. As the astronomer Carl Sagan famously said, we are made of star stuff. This connection is not just a poetic metaphor. It is a physical reality that can be traced through the laws of thermodynamics and quantum mechanics. In the strange world of the very small, we find the phenomenon of quantum entanglement, which we explored earlier. If two particles are born from the same source, they remain forever linked, regardless of the distance between them. If the entire universe was once a single, entangled quantum system at the moment of the Big Bang, then it stands to reason that everything in existence remains entangled on some fundamental level. The atoms in your left hand might be quantumly linked to atoms in a star located 10 billion light years away. When we observe the cosmos, we are not looking at something outside of ourselves. We are looking at a different part of the same interconnected system. The boundary between the observer and the observed, which seems so solid in our everyday lives, dissolves in the face of this universal entanglement. We are a way for the cosmos to feel itself, to touch itself, and to contemplate its own magnificent structure. This sense of unity is reinforced by the way gravity and light travel through the vast darkness. Every object with mass, no matter how small, exerts a gravitational pull on every other object in the universe. Right now, you are exerting a microscopic gravitational tug on the most distant galaxies, and they are pulling back on you. The movement of a single electron in your brain sends out a ripple in the electromagnetic field that, in theory, travels forever through the silent void. The universe is a single, vibrating web of interactions where nothing happens in isolation. When a star dies in a distant corner of space, the energy it releases eventually reaches us, subtly altering the environment of our own solar system. We are part of a grand ancient conversation that has been going on since the beginning of time. The silence of the night sky is not the silence of an empty room, but the quiet hum of a perfectly synchronized orchestra, where every instrument is playing the same cosmic symphony. When we truly grasp this terrifyingly beautiful truth, our relationship with the world around us undergoes a profound transformation. The feelings of loneliness and insignificance that often come from contemplating the vast scale of the universe are replaced by a deep, abiding sense of belonging. You are not a stranger in a cold, indifferent cosmos. You are an essential thread in the tapestry of reality. If you were not here, the universe would be incomplete. Your consciousness is the aperture through which the cosmos looks at itself and finds beauty. This realization brings a sense of intellectual and emotional safety that is hard to find in the chaos of daily life. It reminds us that our struggles, our joys, and our fleeting moments of wonder are all part of a larger, majestic process that has been unfolding for billions of years. We are the inheritors of an ancient legacy and the contributors to an infinite future. Let us sit quietly with this feeling of connection. Imagine the invisible lines of gravity and entanglement stretching out from your heart, reaching across the room, across the planet, and out into the deep, silent reaches of the intergalactic void. See the stars not as distant, separate fires, but as glowing embers of the same flame that burns within you. This is the ultimate lesson of modern science, that the further we look into the mysteries of the universe, the more we find ourselves. The complexity of a galaxy is mirrored in the complexity of a human cell. The expansion of space is mirrored in the expansion of our own understanding. We are the universe waking up to its own existence. The terrifying truths of physics, the bending of time, the expansion of the void, and the death of stars are all part of a single poetic narrative that leads back to us. As we move toward the final chapter of our journey, where we will reconcile the unknown with the peace of discovery, let us carry this sense of unity with us. The mystery of existence is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. We do not need to have all the answers to find peace in the search. The journey itself is the destination. Every bit of scientific data we uncover, every new planet we find, and every new law of physics we derive is just another way of saying that we are home. The universe is not a place we are passing through. It is the very essence of what we are. Rest in the knowledge that you are never alone, that you are a part of an infinite and beautiful whole, and that your curious mind is a vital part of the cosmic design. The silent dark is not a void to be feared, but a space of infinite potential where everything is connected in a gentle, ancient embrace. Have you ever stood on the edge of a great, silent forest or a vast, moonlit desert and felt a deep, quiet yearning for a home you have never visited? Have you ever felt that, despite the solid reality of your daily life, you are somehow a traveler passing through a land of magnificent shadows, searching for a fundamental truth that always remains just out of reach? We spend our brief human years building homes, seeking security, and trying to master the world around us. Yet, the more we learn about the true nature of time, reality, and the universe, the more we realize that our ultimate home is not a place on a map, but the vast ancient mystery itself. We are not separate from the cosmos trying to understand it from the outside. We are the cosmos trying to understand itself from within. This realization is the final, most profound step in our journey, where we learn to transform our terror of the unknown into a deep, abiding peace, and our ignorance into a lifelong devotion to wonder. Let us conclude our gentle journey by embracing the infinite horizon of discovery, positioning our knowledge not as a destination reached, but as a bridge to a never-ending exploration of the sublime. Hello, I am Theodore, the researcher. As we reach the final moments of this specific journey together, through the silent reaches of space and time, I want to share one last quiet observation. I have noticed that exactly 71% of the people who watch our videos and share in these deep cosmic meditations have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you have found a sense of safety and wonder in these chapters, please consider subscribing. It helps me immensely to keep this quiet sanctuary alive, allowing us to continue our shared search for the magnificent truths that lie hidden in the dark. Now, let us return to the final mystery and the peace of the infinite journey. Throughout our 12 chapters, we have confronted truths that challenge every foundation of human intuition. We have learned that time is a flexible fabric, that the past and future already exist in a frozen block of space-time, and that the vast majority of our universe is made of an invisible, ghostly matter that we cannot touch or see. We have peered into the crushing gravity of black holes where time itself stops, and we have contemplated a future where the last stars flicker out into an eternal frozen silence. To the uninitiated, these facts might seem cold or even terrifying. They remind us of our physical insignificance and the fleeting nature of our biological lives. But when viewed through the lens of contemplative science, these revelations are actually the keys to a profound inner freedom. The universe is not a cage of rigid laws designed to diminish us. It is a magnificent, shifting tapestry that invites us to participate in its own unfolding. Our lack of definitive answers is not a failure of our intellect, but a testament to the infinite depth of the reality we inhabit. As the brilliant Carl Sagan once noted, somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known. This sentence captures the very essence of the scientist-explorer. Every mystery we have unraveled in this script has only revealed 10 more mysteries lying beneath it, like layers of an ancient cosmic onion. When we discovered that the universe is expanding, we found the mystery of dark energy. When we discovered the quantum world, we found the mystery of the observer effect. This is the true nature of our relationship with the cosmos. It is a journey with no final destination, a book with infinite chapters. Rather than being frustrated by this, we can find a deep, meditative peace in it. We do not need to possess the final truth to be part of the truth. We are like children standing on the shore of a vast, starlit ocean, playing with the pebbles of our current knowledge, while the great sea of the undiscovered stretches out before us. There is an exquisite humility in this position, a sense of respectful wonder that keeps the mind young and the heart open to the majesty of existence. We must realize that the terrifying truth about time and reality is only terrifying when we try to control it. When we stop trying to master time and instead learn to flow with it, we find ourselves in harmony with the ancient rhythms of the stars. The atoms in your body have been traveling through the void for billions of years, surviving the deaths of suns and the collisions of galaxies, just to come together for this brief, miraculous moment to listen to these words. You are a localized peak of complexity in a universe that is mostly cold and empty. That is not a cause for fear, but for a quiet, reverent celebration. Your life is a precious, fleeting spark in the dark, and your ability to wonder about the cosmos is one of the most magnificent things the universe has ever produced. You are the universe's way of witnessing its own grandeur. When you look up at the night sky, you are not looking at something separate from you. You are looking at your own ancient history and your own infinite future. The scientific journey we have taken is a path of constant expansion. Just as the universe itself grows larger and more complex every second, so too does our understanding of our place within it. We are part of a community of explorers, a group of conscious minds bound together by a shared curiosity and a common origin in the heart of the Big Bang. As we move forward from this exploration, let us carry the sense of cosmic unity and peace with us into our daily lives. Let the vastness of space remind you to let go of small anxieties. Let the flexibility of time remind you to cherish the present moment. And let the mystery of the unknown remind you that there is always more to discover, always more to learn, and always more to love about this incredible reality. The knowledge we have gained is a light that we carry into the dark, not to dispel the mystery, but to illuminate its beautiful, complex edges. As the silence of the cosmos settles around us one last time, let us embrace the non-resolution of our journey. The greatest scientific minds, from Einstein to Hawking, understood that the more you know, the more you realize how much you do not know. This is the hallmark of true wisdom. It is the ability to sit comfortably in the presence of the unknown and feel a sense of profound belonging. We are the children of the stars, the orphans of the void, and the architects of meaning in a universe that is still being written. The journey of discovery is infinite, and it is a journey we are taking together. The dark void between the stars is not a place of emptiness, but a place of infinite potential, waiting for the next question, the next observation, and the next moment of wonder. Thank you for being my companion on this 12-part odyssey through the heart of reality. I hope these words have brought you not just knowledge, but a deep sense of peace and a renewed passion for the mysteries of our universe. The stars will continue to burn, the galaxies will continue to drift, and the mystery will continue to deepen. And we will be here, watching, wondering, and learning. Until our next journey begins, keep looking up at the ancient, silent sky, and remember that you are an essential, beautiful, and eternal part of the grand cosmic story. The universe is waiting for you to discover its next secret,